Good morning. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Freed, and welcome to It's My Honor. Today, it's my honor to introduce you to Navy SWCC, which is Special Warfare Combatant-Craft Crewman, Daniel Sanfelice. Did I get that right, Daniel?
You did. Thank you.
Okay, great. Welcome, and how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Daniel is going to be transitioning in December of this year, 2017. And I'd like for you, Daniel, to share some highlights of your career with us.
Well, thank you. And so one of the first highlights that comes to mind was very early in my career. I was a new guy and I was on my first deployment, and I was chosen as a Special Forces liaison out of a embassy in the Middle East. And this was big for me because generally this type of position was reserved for people with much higher rank and seniority than myself and experience. And I had the trust of my superiors that I could go there and get the job done. And it was a little bit of a culture shock because I landed on deployment. I had a very specific set of training up to that point. And I showed up, and within a week, I was wearing a suit and tie instead of a military uniform and working out of an embassy. So it was very challenging, but I learned a lot of great skills with people management and adaptability. And it culminated in a training exercise with over 40 countries and partner forces. And everything went off without a hitch, and it was very successful and a very successful deployment.
Great. So you had to work with 40 different countries, 40 different cultures to pull together an exercise. That is a challenge. Is there anything else? Pardon me?
I'm sorry, especially when they don't speak the same language as you, and many of them don't really get along with each other. It's a tough balancing act. So,
is there anything else you'd like to share? Another highlight with me?
Yeah, one of the other highlights of my career was when I returned from my most recent deployment earlier this year, and I was assigned as the Unmanned Aircraft System Program Manager for my command. And an unmanned aircraft system is commonly referred to as a drone, and I've been a drone pilot for the last 4 years. And I was able to use and leverage my training and experience on deployments here in the United States and really make some big, serious changes that brought some very positive benefits to the U.S. program, which led to an increase in pilots being trained, flight hours, and proficiency and safety of the pilots.
So you were involved in the development of the training for that program?
Yes, I actually was tasked with designing the whole thing from the ground up. And up until that point, we hadn't had an actual training curriculum. And so I got with some of my team, and we came up with a plan and executed the plan.
Terrific. Okay. So what skills from these highlights that you share do you see as directly translating to the civilian workforce?
Well, first of all, I think that my communication and relationship management is a great skill that I bring to the civilian workforce. Working with working in the military can be difficult with the different age ranges, people from all over the country. And then when you go on deployment, you're working with people from all different countries that don't speak your language, and you really have to be able to manage those contacts and those networks.
Okay.
And secondly, I was involved with the design and curriculum of many training blocks, and I think I bring that same type of innovative mindset when it comes to training and safety to the civilian world as well.
So as you're looking into the civilian world, and you haven't identified any particular industry as we talked earlier today, what kind of culture are you looking for to land in?
The type of culture that I'm looking to land in is a company culture that values the ability to think and act autonomously, and the ability to use creative thinking and going outside the box and embracing risk and not being afraid of failure. A company that's on the cutting edge of thought and technology is exactly the type of company I'd like to work for.
Okay. So if I had the opportunity to nab your commanding officer and ask him or her, tell me, what are Daniel's greatest strengths? What would I likely hear?
So I think my commanding officer would say my greatest strengths are, number one is my decision making and leadership in stressful situations. Many times we're called upon to make difficult decisions and very stressful and life or death situations. And I take pride in being able to be decisive and act in those situations. Number two, I would say, is my ability to create clever solutions to complex problems. And number three, I would say, is my professionalism. And I take my job very seriously. I take pride in my work. And I think that having that professionalism creates trust and credibility that allows you to accomplish your goals.
Well, Daniel, I want to thank you for spending this morning with me. And once again, it's my honor to introduce you to Daniel Sanfelice.